Speech, is it worth it? Mr. John Bigley.
75 years ago yesterday marked the anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. 353 Japanese planes, launched in 2 waves, struck the harbor. More than 2,400 died, almost half of them on the USS Arizona alone, and an additional 1,200 were injured. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, friends, I hate war, but I am not anti-war. So let me try and explain this. I hate war because of how destructive it is. In resources, in land, but most importantly in lives. At one point I had thought to impress you with some of the statistics from the different wars that our countries participated in. For starters, like Iraq. But then I ran into a problem. I can give you a pretty good number on how many American troops and American civilians have died in Iraq. But to this day, no one knows how many Iraqis have died. In fact, to this day, no one knows how many Vietnamese died during the Vietnam War, or how many Koreans died during the Korean War. And there's a lot of reasons for this. One, reporting is difficult. Especially in Iraq right now, it's hard to distinguish multiple reports of the same events. It's hard to really tell exactly how many have passed away and perished. But I think the biggest problem is apathy. This, however, is different when it comes to World War II. Having so many nations involved, people are a little more interested in how many lives are actually lost. During the course of the war, the United States lost 416,000 military personnel and 1,700 civilians. Japan would go on to lose 2,120,000 military personnel and 580,000 civilians. Germany, they would lose 5,533,000 troops and 2 million civilians. Now, in the case of Germany and later on Russia, it's hard to distinguish exactly how many were lost because just as many died from starvation and exposure as from bombs and bullets. In Great Britain, 382,700 military personnel died and 67,000 civilians. China went on to lose 2 million military and 8 million civilians. And then Russia was 8,800,000 military and 14,154,000 civilians. Now, there were an additional 50 other countries involved in the conflict, and between them there was another 14 million deaths. So the total of the length of the war of World War II was more than 61 million people died during that conflict. To put it into perspective, that is more than the current population of California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Nevada. In fact, that's within about 1 million of the same number of people. All that died during the course of one war. Now, I don't know about you, but I cannot picture 61 million people. That's just a bit more than I can visualize. I'm going to do something a little bit different right now. I want everyone, except for maybe the timer, to close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to think about the largest venue you've ever been in. Not just something seen on TV, but actually been present at. A stadium, a conference hall, the line at Starbucks, just something big. And look around at all the people around you. Look at their faces. They're smiling. Unless it's a Green Bay Packers game when they're all groaning. Look at everybody. Look at the guy without a shirt, painted blue and gold with a great big foam finger. Look at the person next to you, your loved one. Maybe it's their first game ever. Soak it up. Look at this crowd, everybody, all these faces, all this energy, all this life. Now imagine it's just stopping. Don't picture anything graphic. Just imagining everything stopping. Everything becoming silent. No more movement. Just blank stares. You can wake up now. Will someone nudge Jay, please? Every person, the 61 million, and every person who has perished in any of these conflicts, they all had a face. They all had lives. They all had hopes. They all had dreams. They all had families. They all had being. And every single one of them somewhere is lost and missed. Like I said before, I hate war. I hate all the destruction that comes with it. Life is precious. It is beyond precious. Which is also why I'm not opposed to war. Because there are things that are worth defending. There are things that are worth fighting for. And we know this because of how many people have risked and laid down their lives to defend and protect others. And I would not think for a moment to defame them in any way for the sacrifices they chose to make. And even those that didn't really have a choice, they still did it. And it didn't matter what flag draped their coffin. A lot of people have given their lives for freedom and to defend and protect others. All war ends the same way. And I'm not talking about on the battlefield or in a cemetery, but they all end at the negotiation table. Whether it's a surrender or a peace treaty or something to that effect. Anything that is worth fighting for and anything that is worth dying for is also worth making peace for. It's also worth negotiating for. As a world, we need to realistically look at the cost of war. Realistically look at all the lives that are lost. And finally decide whether it's worth it. Life is worth defending, but life is also worth making peace over. Madam Toastmaster. Oops.